What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Swagcast. Today we have a former ESFL champion and a current 3-0 amateur MMA champion, Alex RastaReverend Cunningham. What's going on, brother? How we doing?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. You know, besides the technical difficulties, you know, I've been meaning to get you on for a while. So I first want to start with, how did you first get into MMA? What was your introduction? How long have you been training?
Introduction to MMA. I played basketball in college, and towards the end of my college career, I bought UFC 2. Conor McGregor was on the cover with, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Dia. I don't remember, but that was like the featured fight of that.
Ronda.
Maybe, yeah, it was Ronda. Exactly. Yeah. I knew it was two people on the cover, but I bought it for like $6 it was on sale the week of John Jones versus DC2. So UFC 214. That's back in maybe 2017, maybe?
Yeah, 2017.
So yeah, I heard of Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, but I never watched like an actual UFC card until that weekend. So I bought the game, and then that weekend was the fight. So I went to B-Dubs, sat there by myself and watched most of the card. So that's how I got into MMA.
That card was crazy.
Yeah.
The fights before it was what's wild.
They had
Tyron Woodley versus Damian
Yes,
Maia.
exactly. Yeah. Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia, Chris Cyborg, and Tanya Evinger, I want to say. Robbie Lawler, Donald Cerrone. I want to say Masvidal fought that night too against maybe Stephen Thompson. I can't remember, but a lot of good fights, and it was a stacked card event.
I forgot about Cowboy versus Robbie too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hate that I love the Tyron Woodley Damian Maia fight, but it's like,
I love it.
The grappling was on point. And,
yeah.
And I'm a grappling fiend when it comes to MMA. So you actually got into it how old were you?
I was, got to do math, maybe 22.
22. All right, so you were still of the age to learn.
21 maybe. Yeah.
And how long did you play basketball?
My entire life, man, from like age 4 to 21 or so. I'd say, yeah.
You got to college, so that means you have the athleticism for it. What did you train first? Did you jump?
Jiu-jitsu. Jumped right into jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
Right.
Never planned on fighting. Just during COVID, I was working a flooring job, and I needed something to do, man. So all right, let me go try some jiu-jitsu. Found a great school with Wade Rome, one of the founders of American Top Team. He coached Tyron Woodley, Ben Askren, Mike Chandler. He was their first MMA coach up in Missouri. So when they got out of University of Missouri from wrestling, they kind of transferred over to ATT, and I think they were in Columbus or something or Columbia. I don't know. I think that's where it is, Columbia, Missouri. So kind of lucked out, found a great place, and just started hammering the grappling.
You just opened up a wormhole of questions now. So your first interaction with MMA was 2017, but you didn't actually start.
I didn't train until 2020. Yeah.
And that's COVID season, and that's also when ESFL and UFC esports started to take off.
Yes,
which we're going to talk about later. But so you start training jiu-jitsu, and how long did you train jiu-jitsu? I know you're a blue belt now. How long until you got to blue belt?
I got it like 2 years ago, man. I'm sandbagged as hell. I'm having hard times finding fights, so I'll keep it on the low. But I've been doing this about almost 4 years now. But it took me like 2 years to get it. We just had a belt promotion, but I'm not too worried about it. I know where I'm at.
Nah, bro, I know a blue belt he's been a blue belt for like 8 years, and anytime belt promotion comes up, he ducks. He ducks the gym. He's still out there winning gold in tournaments. He's milking it. And the other day he beat the dog shit out of me, and I was like, bro, they're just gonna give you a brown belt at this point. This is ridiculous. This shit's fucking getting out of control. He was like, nah, bro, I'm still blue belt forever.
Yeah,
and I was like, you're out of your fucking mind. Been almost doing this for 10 years, blue belt forever. Probably wondering how the Swaggy stays so energized for these weekly podcasts. Well, here's how I do it: by drinking Don't Lag coffee, and you can get your own Don't Lag coffee right now with my 10% off code. Use Swaggy at don'tlagcoffee.com. That's use Swaggy at don'tlagcoffee.com for 10% off. Now let's get right back into the episode.
Yeah.
So you start training jiu-jitsu in 2020, but
Yeah.
in 2023 you have a kickboxing fight. You get the
I
W.
do. Yeah. I get
And
the
a couple
W.
months later, you do a boxing match in a cage, and you win.
Yeah.
So that's kickboxing, that's boxing, dubs. You start with
Yeah. They got
but you
there's
start training with
there's
jiu-jitsu. Can you
yeah,
kind of give me the
there's
timeline of getting into the fight?
about a year in maybe of jiu-jitsu, I started striking seriously, maybe twice a week, and then I'd go like on my own. My girlfriend would hold pads for me, but we only had 2 striking classes a week at the time. But when I started training, they kind of upped it to 4 because like you don't really get to doing anything twice a week. So we started striking a little bit more. About a year into it, but yeah. So we started with the kickboxing. I actually had 2 kickboxing matches. One of them's not on there. One of them's a 23-second head kick knockout. So that one's not on there. It's not on the list. But I don't really. I should contact the people about getting it on there. But fuck it, it's not that
You
big of a deal.
should. That's great. That's a flex. That's a 23-second head kick, bro. That's a flex.
It's all right, man. I'll get it on there later. It's better if they don't see that, you know. So like I said, I'm having a hard time getting fights.
So okay, so you're having a hard time getting fights. So that kind of leads to my next question. If you would take anything, like if your next fight's not MMA and if it's boxing, kickboxing.
Oh, no, it's MMA 100% from here on now.
Oh, okay.
I just liked train or competing in each art and making sure you're capable in it before you go and put it all together, you know, because sometimes you're going to need the grappling. Sometimes you're going to need the striking. So I wanted to make sure I tested myself in every area because I did a shit ton of jiu-jitsu competitions, like won a whole bunch of double golds and shit. So we've been doing this for... it's just... It was never about any of those things. My ultimate goal was I wanted to fight, so...
Yeah,
now we're really getting into it.
You did it in such like a graceful step-by-step way too. Like got into the grappling and then like exceeded at that and then kind of like full-fledged into the striking. Now you're knocking people out in 23 seconds with head kicks. Like shit's out of control. So now in 2024 you make your amateur debut in March. You're fighting in July and again last month in November and you won a belt. You're 3-0. What's next? You're saying you're having a hard time finding fights, and I assume you're still looking for amateur fights?
Yeah, I'll probably do like 2 more. That's probably the plan. About 2 more, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. Anything can change, man.
So like when you say 2 more, do you think you'll be because you're
probably by the end of next year? Probably.
That's what I'm thinking too. You're doing fights like pretty quickly. Like you're getting like 3 fights in a year. I'm thinking how quickly do you think this turnaround would be coming? You fought
probably like next March
week?
in the spring. Get back to it in the spring. You know, I like to take some time between fights. I don't like fighting like back to back because then you didn't really get a chance to really improve on anything. So I like to improve on some stuff I feel like I did poorly, and then just let the body heal a little bit. I've had a long year.
Okay, so you did have a long year. Three fights is crazy in 1 year. So when you accept a fight, I know amateurs are pretty tough because there might not be a lot of footage out there of amateur fights. How do you go about your fight camp being still an amateur?
I really just train all year, man. I have a fight camp, like when you have something announced, okay, you're really dialed in. You're making sure you're not skipping anything. And maybe you up it to 2 a day, a little bit more than normal. But I really just train all year, man. I'll train all the time, every day, every week, at least like 5 days a week. So to me, it's just when I have a fight, all right, I ramp it up, start game planning, but maybe do a little bit more stretching. But other than that, I mean, I'm in pretty much fight shape the whole year.
Okay, are certain days of the week set to certain like aspects of MMA, or is every day just kind of strength conditioning and getting the cage?
I say Monday through Thursday, I'm always grappling. Gi, no gi, alternating days. And then Saturday, I do my sparring over at Fusion Excel. Mondays as well, I go over to Fusion Excel, get some good drilling in there. Got some high-level pros in there. Terrence McKinney, Phil Rowe, Mike Davis, Mike Perry, Lyoto Machida, fucking whoever you want to name, Charles Johnson, the flyweight. Man, some big names in there. So just learning from those guys and just happy to be on the mat with them. I look around, I'm like, damn, like you're in the fucking video game. How am I fucking on the mat with you right now? But it's fucking cool as shit, man.
Nah,
Just really blessed.
that's a crazy list of fucking legends you just kind of like
Yeah,
spat off to be in the same training room as and
yeah.
getting all of that like veteran IQ and
Man,
information
yeah,
passed down. You also made me smile a little bit because now I get roasted for this all the time by my community, but I'm a gi nerd.
yeah,
I train I mostly train in gi. I don't have many no gi training days. I like to I'm kind of an asshole. I like to say if you train every day in gi, you can beat anybody in no gi. It's just it's easy me. It's
yeah,
easy
yeah.
peasy.
There's levels to it. I like both though.
I do too. I like to train no gi here and there, especially during the summer.
Yeah,
But like I get cold easy. So right now, gi all day every day. Loving
yeah,
the gi season right now.
yeah. It's getting a little bit cold here in Florida, but not too bad. Nothing crazy. But I try to train about half and half. More no gi than gi, but about half and half.
Yeah, so now training every day, going into the gym and training with legends like Machida and Charles Robinson and people like that. What kind of things have you learned? What kind of lessons have been passed down that you now see yourself using or even outside of MMA? What like life lessons have been passed down by some of these guys?
Oh man, it's really just consistency, man. You could see the guys who go in there putting in the work day in day out, and if you just don't stray from that path, eventually you're gonna get to the top. Like all things considered, I mean, I have an athletic background. I feel like I'm a pretty smart guy. If I just keep going, just keep on improving, like doesn't matter. You might take a bump in the road, but just keep going. Like it doesn't really matter. Just keep on putting in the work. Good things will happen for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So now talking to you for how long I've been talking to you, I can already kind of tell the vibe and that you just want to keep going step by step and just
Yeah.
continue to get better. So do you have UFC aspirations?
100%. I
Is that
I
like the
don't know
end
if I'll
goal?
ever be a champion, but I think I could have some banger fights. I think I have an exciting style. So maybe a champion, maybe one day. But for me, this is just a dream, man. I started late in life, so I got to be realistic. But maybe one day I could be. I never know. I feel like I'm still just getting started.
Yeah, no, that's like that's kind of a crazy mentality to have too. Like the first person I think of when you say that is like Cowboy, because
Hmm.
like Cowboy Donald Cerrone, he always he wanted to be a champion towards the end of his career, but he always was just kind of like a journeyman and just went out there
Yeah.
and put on banger fights, and that's kind of the fight style you got too.
Yeah.
You kind of got like the kickboxer flow to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you say you're gonna go pro possibly at the end of next year. Now,
Yeah.
uh, can you give me kind of like a timetable to what most people are in the amateur leagues for? Like how long is a normal
Shoot.
fighter usually an amateur?
The quicker you can do it, the better. I mean, some dudes take 3, 4, 5 years in amateur, and then you get to the pro, but that's a lot of time. So ideally, you
Yeah.
probably like if you could speed run it 2, 3 years, boom, get to the money as quick as you can, but be like good enough to do it. Don't just go pro because you feel like you need to go pro, and then your record is now like your record is so important when you go pro. So picking the right fights once you go pro, building up the resume the right way, and trying to get to like 6-0, 7-0. UFC's calling you. I'm training with a few guys right now, waiting on their call from the Contender Series. So trying to get in that position and see what happens. But
Yeah.
probably like 2, 3 years is ideal. I mean,
Okay.
it's almost been 2 years for me now since I first stepped in the cage, March of 2023. So
Hmm.
about 3 years. If you're doing it right, you can bang out a lot of fights in 3 years.
Okay. So now you mentioned the Contender Series. Is that kind of like the main route now to the UFC for
Seems
young
like it,
fighters?
man. That's like the number one way I'm seeing. I'm seeing guys come through our gym. I don't know if you watch a lot of Contender Series.
I keep up with it. I
Uh,
Contender Series got bangers every week.
yeah. Ramon Tavares came up through
Okay.
Contender Series. He's a local guy. Torres Finney came through the gym a lot in his preparation leading up to his Contender Series. I think he's been on there twice. But there's a lot of guys that come up. Phil Rowe came up through Contender Series, one of my best training partners. That seems like that's the route. Cody Steele just was down here the other week. He came up through Contender Series, so that's what the best guy, or that's what most guys are doing now. I think that's the motto for the UFC: get the young guys off the
Yeah.
Contender.
It used to be kind of like the Ultimate Fighter was the route, but now it seems like the Ultimate Fighter is kind of like taking like older unnoticed fighters, and
Yeah,
Contender Series is sticking to like the young guns,
yeah.
kind of trying to build like the young resume. Now we continue to speak about the UFC, but what about other promotions like PFL and One Championship? Would you kind of look in that direction, or you gave me a giggle? So like,
I don't know,
what do
man.
you know that I don't
I
know?
don't I don't got nothing against it. It's just I want probably the most eyeballs is what's going to pay you the most money. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's prize fighting. So if they pay me a bag, I'll go do that. I don't have anything against it, but main goal is the big show, man. Everybody knows no one really watches PFL, all that shit. I mean, if you're a hardcore, I don't even watch that shit, And I love this sport. So big eyes are in the UFC. You see what happened to Michael Chandler once he came over to the UFC. He's a star. He was that in Bellator. It's the same guy. It's just now he's in front of us.
Yep,
You
we
need a
got the
great
eyes on him.
platform. That's like the biggest thing. You need a really good platform.
Exactly.
Anything is possible.
Exactly, and that's kind of what we're seeing with Mikey Mujmechi right now,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
grappler, and he's getting more eyeballs on him because the UFC's doing the
Hmm.
whole grappling thing,
Yeah, exactly.
and all right, so let's kick it to content real quick.
Yeah,
Let's turn it to esports because I feel like that kind of started it all. Like that,
yeah,
like you said you turned on UFC 2, and then a couple of years later you're tossing the gi on and training
yeah, yeah,
jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
So now kind of take me through UFC 2 to UFC 3 to becoming a pro in UFC 4. Or were
Uh,
you a
I,
pro at the end of UFC 3?
nah, nah. It was
No.
UFC 4. That's when
Okay.
I really like. I think the game came out. I was getting competitive at it, like UFC 3. I was grinding a lot, watching a lot of streams. Ed Parker,
Ed Parker.
Romero,
Yep, yep.
fuck it, just watching a whole bunch of content. And then I started making a little bit of content towards the end of 3. But when 4 came out, I got just grinding that game. It was COVID. I had nothing to do. I was like, all right, let me see how good I can get at this. I was on the leaderboards for a lot of season 1 and season 2, and then played had a pretty good ESFL debut against a dude. I don't even know these guys. There's so much turnover, but against a pretty decent guy, and that kind of put me on the map.
I was doing some research actually, and you fought a lot of guys in the ESFL that are still in the community. Like they were very young
Yeah,
then, and they're still in the community, whether they're
yeah,
the same name, different name, similar name. And you beat a lot of those guys that are
yeah,
now like in contention for
yeah,
championships in the big leagues, which back then it was just ESFL.
yeah.
ESFL was the only thing existed, but now you got ESFL and you have Prime Time, which
Okay,
prime time is up there as well with the just the competition they have
sick, sick.
inside.
I tell you the truth, I have not since I left. I have not kept up with anything like UFC video game related. Like I play the UFC 5 game a little bit, but I suck now, bro. Like I don't know the meta. I don't know the cheese. I don't like any top level guy probably killing me right now. But
There's a lot of
yeah,
new like
yeah,
content creators that are
yeah,
really like good at the game too, because when you mentioned Ed Parker and Ed Romero
yeah.
and I'm pretty sure Marshall was
Yeah,
massive
Marshall,
back then too,
100%, yeah.
and now it's like Naz
Yeah, this
and
I've seen him.
Nabality's ass. Nabality's ass. Don't get me wrong. I had a fight against Nabality in primetime a couple weeks ago, and he beat the dog shit out of me. But Nabality's ass, it's just I was a little rusty. But like that now there's like a whole new like
Yeah, new
face
wave of
of
guys.
UFC, and these guys are putting up numbers like
Yeah,
never seen, kind of putting like crazy eyes on the game.
yeah,
And EA is actually doing a good job with, like, they just added rank stand and bang. They're trying to keep people
yeah,
on the game, And that's actually a good look. So you say you have been playing UFC 5 a little bit here and
A
there. Do you
little
think
bit
you'll
here and there.
return to the
Hell
competition
no.
scene?
Hell no. Never in my life. I'm a competitor at heart. That's why I think what got me into it. But man, I don't know. I felt like my entire self-worth was based on a video game screen. So I never want to feel like that again. So uh
You should
I
come
do it.
commentate though. You should come hop in
Maybe,
the booth.
yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. But as far as competing, that doesn't do anything for me. Tell you the truth, towards the end of that first it's 2020, so like the ESFL season started. They had the PlayStation, Xbox bracket or whatever. And by that time, it was like November, December. I had just started training in real life, and I was almost like just burned out of the game. Like I wasn't. This is supposed to you're supposed to be at your best when you're playing in this shit, and I wouldn't play the game all week. I just hop on during the weekend. Fuck, let's run it, see what I can do. That's the type of attitude I had towards the end of it. So I already knew like I I'm not meant to compete virtually. I'm not a good esports guy, but
Yeah,
I did my
nah.
thing. I had my run.
Yeah, everybody has their I call it like the little 6 month prime, you know,
Yeah,
everybody has their time. Like I did, I was out there, you know, I was knocking people out in big tournaments. I was
yeah,
making the waves in leagues. But then you crumble. You're like
yeah.
now I'm like Tony Ferguson. I try to step back in these leagues and
That's me, bro.
uh, the prime time owner the other day was like, Swaggy, get back in the booth, please retire, put the gloves down, put the gloves down.
Oh
Um,
man.
so you mentioned before we even started recording that you do want to get back to content.
Yeah,
So
a
so
lot
if
more.
if not UFC, what are you thinking? Are you thinking like,
Ah, I still might do something like UFC or just MMA related. Just teaching people. All right, maybe I break down the best technique of the last pay per view. Maybe like
mhm,
the John Jones kick from the other week. I could do shit like that, breaking down. All right, this is how you throw a spinning body kick, or like the Leon Edwards head kick setup against Usman. Okay, he threw the left. Just basic shit like that, breaking shit down like that. I think I could do pretty well, and I'm pretty decent at betting. So maybe I start giving people picks.
you
Who
you good?
knows?
You know Cody Danka?
I do know he is. Yeah.
Cody is an absolute gambling wizard.
Yeah.
I had
I
Cody
listen to
on
his
the
stuff too.
I had Cody on the podcast one week, and off camera he was like, "Listen, I'm gonna give you a parlay and just put it in." I was like, "Okay," and it hit. And I was like,
Yeah.
"God damn, Cody!" But I don't really, I try not to dabble in the gambling anymore,
Yeah.
because you know one week Brian Ortega might get you the sub that you need, but then the next week Valentina, you know, not gonna finish
Yeah,
the fight when she should. So you know,
exactly, yeah. It's risky, but I mean, I I only play if I have the money to, so, uh,
yeah, as you should. So now,
yeah.
so content wise, do you see yourself doing like IRL grappling or IRL striking content or in gym
Uh,
content?
I think so. I think that's the next step. Maybe still play a little bit UFC, do some showcases here and there, talk about upcoming fights, stuff like that. I think it's easy to do, but yeah, maybe a little bit of both. Maybe some IRL stuff, maybe some video game stuff. Who knows?
So are there any other games that you
Oh,
be
I
touching or?
I play a lot of 2K. I play a lot of NCAA football. That's really what I've been playing mostly now, but mainly 2K with the boys. That's what I like doing. I play COD, but I'm not good at it. But I get
Yeah.
four of the dudes on, feels like I'm on the court again.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, so
I got my squads. Like my shooter squads are like they only play shooters, and I'm ass
uh,
at shooters because I'm mostly sports games. But then my sports game fiends, it's like I got my 2K squad because I'm kind of ass at 2K. I'm questionable, but like I'll have my games where like I go like 10 points for 20 rebounds and like 15
okay. So you play
assists.
center,
I'm a power forward.
power forward. Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'll hit
we
it.
got to run it sometime.
I'll hit a three from the corner sometimes. I'm ass.
Okay,
I haven't played in a couple of weeks, but I'm down to run it. You know, we'll
That's
get
all right.
we'll
Let's
get some
do it.
fives
We
in. I'm
we
I'm
run some
absolutely
pro
down.
am.
I'm
Let's do
absolutely
it.
down. I'm absolutely with it.
It's fun,
So,
man.
do you have any you've been talking MMA this whole time, and it seems like you've absolutely fell in love with the sport from like the
Yeah,
moment you laid your eyes on it. Do you
yeah.
have like any hobbies outside of fighting, outside of MMA?
It's my life. I don't really do much. I game, I train, I sleep. Game, train, sleep. That's basically what I do. That's my life.
Bro, the way you said that was so like passionate, you know, like Like you really found you
Yeah, man.
like you married the game.
Yeah.
Like you love the game, like you're not leaving it. Like so so before we get out of here, give me three dream fights.
Dream fights.
You versus an opponent that you would consider a dream fight. Three of them.
Shoot. Probably any of the dream fights. I probably wouldn't want to fight the guys because I love them so much. But whatever pays me the most money, that would be my dream fight. Give me Connor, obviously. Like the guys that you look up to, I don't really want to fight them. So it's like I love Izzy. I love Izzy. I love Max Holloway. But I wouldn't ever want to fight any of those guys. But give me Connor, Nate Diaz, and Tony Ferguson.
All
Three
right.
dream fights right there.
Tony Ferguson, you wanted to? Nah, bro. Tony got to put the gloves down. Stop
Hey,
telling Tony.
Maybe that's why I want him.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. One of my homies, Jay Dime, he hates Tony Ferguson, and we were talking the other day, and he was like, "Nah, I want Tony Ferguson to fight somebody young. I want Tony Ferguson to fight like somebody that's deadly, like Leroy Murphy or something." Like, and I was like, "Nah, he's gonna get murdered." And he was like, "Nah, like Connor versus Tony, book it." Like, I was like, "You're out of your fucking mind."
No,
so,
it's a highlight waiting to happen. So.
Nah, that's it. Hopefully for Tony. Tony needs something big, bro. He's done. He's done. All right, brother. Thank you so much for joining me. We had a fantastic conversation. Do you want to shout anything out before we get out of here? Any socials?
Hey, RastaReverend on all platforms. I'm pretty simple. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, whatever. It's always RastaReverend. No space in between. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out all my gyms. Control Jiu-Jitsu out here in Melbourne, Fusion Excel over there in Orlando. All my training partners, can't do this without you guys. Shout out you, Swaggy, for having me on, bro. And shout out all the listeners, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Next time I'm down in Florida, I'll come get sandbagged by
100%.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming by, brother. I appreciate it. I love y'all so much. Thank you for watching every single week. Brand new episodes be dropping Wednesday. I love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.